Yes. Let's go out to the Toyota of Hollywood guest line. Shop over 1,500 Toyotas.
He's got to be hoarse too. David Dwork's got to be hoarse too, right?
Probably. Let's go out to the Toyota of Hollywood guest line. Shop over 1,500 Toyotas indoors in one of America's largest showrooms at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan. David Dwork, what's going on, man? How are you, buddy?
Good morning, folks. Not very hoarse, but a little bit tired.
Yep.
I mean, we're all tired.
You are a Monster Heat fan as well. What was last night like for you? Are you sans pants?
Yes, sans pants for the last 12 hours or so, give or take. No, it was awesome the way it worked out last night because the Panthers game ended just in time to kind of flip over to the Heat game and watch them kind of epically come back and break everybody's heart up in Cheesetown. And it was just it was a fun night. I was regretting a little bit taking the early interview option you gave me today. I would have liked an extra hour of sleep.
I would have given you you could have called in an audible if you wanted to, but
no. The Panthers had a Zoom at like 9:30 in the morning anyway, so sleep was not a very very big option last night. But it is worth it. I mean, what a night!
What a night it was.
So,
man.
Dave, as an amateur hockey, connoisseur. And I only watch it on TV because I've seen it live. And if you see hockey live, it's like nothing you've ever seen. It's unlike any sport. But is it me or is Boston just extremely fast? Like from one end to the other, like quickly, and they get shots on goal whenever possible.
Yeah, it's not just that they're fast either, Leroy. It's that they work so hard that they're always on top of the opposition. They're always like, if you watch them play, they're reading the plays ahead. Like when Florida's on the power play, Boston's like 2 steps ahead. They're rotating with the Panthers in the neutral zone. Their rotations and their coverage assignments are they work so hard. And that's kind of like why it's been nice to see the Panthers in the series because they've been skating with Boston, not toe to toe for, every game as we saw last night. Boston really outplayed the Panthers last night. But the Panthers have skated with them for the most part. But this is just the team in Boston that they've been kind of working these systems. They've been working their game for years now. They understand exactly what it takes to win in the postseason and how hard they have to work. And they've done it all year. That's why they were a record-breaking team. That's why they won the President's Trophy. That's why they broke NHL records during the regular season for points and wins. And it's been nice to see the Panthers keeping up with them to this point. It's still 3-2. They still have a bit of a ways to go. But most people coming into this series looked at it kind of like the Heat-Bucks series, where it was like, yeah, 4 or 5 games maybe, and then the top seed moves on and we go on with our lives. But no, not quite.
Is this because I feel really good about where the Panthers are headed because of the things you just said and just watching them. Like they don't look like they're outmatched or outmanned, and they're playing that style of hockey. Is this like not only for now, but in the future, is it a positive thing to see, where this team is?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why they brought in this coaching staff. That's why they made the changes they made personnel-wise with bringing in Tkachuk, sending Huberdeau to Calgary. Some of the moves that they've made, they're trying to build a tougher team, a team that maybe isn't going to be the dominant regular season team that we saw last year when the Panthers won the President's Trophy and the Panthers scored all the exciting goals, the comeback wins. They didn't see that as a sustainable way to succeed for year in and year out. The team that they're building now is one that they hope and they view that can contend for the Stanley Cup, not just now, but for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years if things continue to progress. Because they've got like Barkov and Tkachuk locked up till 2030. Their core is signed for the next several years. They've got the cap flexibility after this year that they'll be able to replenish the depth that was such a big reason why they succeeded last year in addition to the way they played. So they're building something, Leroy. They're building something that's going to last for the next few years, they hope. And the fact that we're seeing this year, despite the struggles that they had, that they're going toe-to-toe with not just the best team in the league this year, but the best team the league has seen ever in terms of regular season.
What did you make of the performances? I think this is probably the most heat Aleksander Barkov has ever taken in his Panthers career. I think the fans are expecting a lot more out of him. He has a career high in hits yesterday. It seemed to really amp up the attitude to start that game off yesterday. And then, of course, Bob. I mean, the question was who was going to be in goal. Just the way those guys responded in a do-or-die game.
Yeah, and actually, Paul Maurice said earlier this morning that Sasha Barkov has been battling like a flu bug, and he was really sick when the playoffs started. Gradually has gotten better. So that would explain why we've seen Barkov kind of start off a little slow and get a little bit better as the series gone on. He, as you said, he had a series high in hits last night. He started off the game with a hit. He's been a little bit more active, and it's just, I think the thing with Barkov is you'd want to see a little bit more aggression from his game, and that's just something that, whether it's been because he's under the weather or just because Boston's been matching up their top defensive opposition with Barkov, as we saw him up against their bet center Patrice Bergeron a lot last night. It's just good to see him get going. I mean, we've been watching Barkov his whole career. We know what this man is capable of. He can do some magical things on the ice, regardless of who he's playing against. So it's hopefully what Maurice told us today, which is that he's been a little under the weather. And then you mentioned Sergei Bobrovsky. I mean, look, nobody's been more of a critic than I have, I think, of Sergei Bobrovsky. I think he, obviously he's had his struggles with the Panthers. But last night, I mean, that was amazing. That was what the Panthers are paying for. That is what you want to see from your goaltender. Sergei Bobrovsky was spectacular last night. He made big saves. He didn't give up cheap goals. He was there when they needed him. I mean, the save he made at the end of regulation on Brad Marchand. I mean, that would have been an amazing moment. I'm not a Panther fan. A walk-off breakaway to win a series as time expires. You never see something like that. And all Bob did was stand tall, make that big save, send the game to overtime, and then they won. So your two perhaps most important players, save for Matthew Tkachuk, Barkov and Bobrovsky, both of them at their best if you're going to take the series, and they're trending in that direction.
Before we get you out of here, David, Goosey's level when the Panthers released the video of Matthew Tkachuk telling the locker room, remember this room, we'll be back here for 7.
It's so cool. I mean, I don't know if I had much left. I think the hair, some of my body had been just kind of staying at attention for the entirety of the night. But yeah, it's cool that you see that with your team, right? A guy like Matthew Tkachuk is not common across professional sports. A guy who's going to go out and not only perform from a statistical standpoint, the goals and the assists and all that, but it's the leadership. It's the grittiness. Like, it's absolutely, this guy's a full package. And to see him taking on that leadership role, just 25 years old, it's his first year with the team. And to see him stand up like that, command the room, everybody looks to him. They know where they're going with their leadership. And to see him just step up and say, look, boys, we've got some more to go. Look at me. We're going to do this. It's amazing. I love it. Absolutely love it. 10 out of 10 in Goosey value.
Awesome. David Dwork, top Goosies. Get some sleep, man. Thanks for joining us this morning. A nice double playoff victory. We had to talk about that Panthers win last night, too. And appreciate you giving us some time, man. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, David.
There you go, David Dwork. Catch him on Local 10 at David Dwork, DWORK on Twitter. And, of course, is the host of the Chirpin' the Cats podcast. Covers Panthers really, really well in this town.